And anything for that same reason, I get to witness on a different level what you get to witness. Whereas, she walks into her reveal party and that's it. She's smiling again. And the loved ones that are there waiting for her haven't seen her smile in such a long time. All of a sudden it comes back and it's real and it's there, and they got that person that they loved back. And even cancer didn't take that away. It's inside. They just had to figure out how to bring it up again. So I love what you do.
Thank you. And you too. I love what you do. And I think that from a loved one standpoint and a friend's standpoint, you hear this all the time, that a lot of times you don't really know how to handle somebody else's diagnosis. Like, what are the right words to say? What do I pray for? Do I send her a note? Do I call her? Like, everybody's sort of confused on what would be appropriate, because people aren't trained a lot of times how to handle adversity in somebody else's life. This is my experience, at least my observation. So at what you're doing and what I'm doing, which allows these loved ones to have a place to land also that is comfortable for them.
That's
because
right.
Now we're creating the experience that the loved ones get to say, oh, okay, now I get to be part of this. And I didn't necessarily have to orchestrate it, but I got to enjoy it and just be in the moment and not being overthinking their part. I don't know if any of that makes sense. But
it does make sense. It does make sense, because so many of them, they kind of stand by the side, and they want to help, but they don't know how to help. And so even just in your situation where they just get to be there to be a cheerleader, that's helping at that point in time. They don't feel like they're standing there and doing nothing. They get to cheer them on. So that's awesome that you give the loved ones that opportunity as well. So let me ask.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was saying what I love too is that our event is such a memory maker, because you have these women. We have 8 photographers and videographers in every possible corner, backstage. We have a professional photo area where the ladies are posing for really amazing high-end pictures of their outfits, and then on stage, of course, every angle. And I love the fact that we can create this memory that hopefully will last throughout the generations, and that, so in the picture with the loved ones, you got the significant other, the husband, the children, the grandparents, whoever happens to be at that event celebrating. I watch these pictures go plastered all over Facebook, of course, but what I love more than that is that the story that we can help tell about this woman's resiliency and how strong she was and beautiful in the face of adversity. And that story can last forever, because we're capturing those in these videos and photographs, so that maybe 100 years from now, her lineage could say, that's my great grandma, man. Like that woman's like bad. I don't want to say this curse word, but like that's what, like, wow, I come from strong people.
Yes.
So I love creating those memories for her entire generations to come.
Mm-hmm. And I think that that's what's so powerful too, because you're allowing them to leave a legacy, and you maybe not even thought about it when you were doing this, but you're allowing them to leave a legacy. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So you are not a cancer survivor, yet you founded this program for women that have cancer and dedicate your life to this. So what fuels your passion for this program?
I was surrounded by women who were going through cancer diagnosis, very strong women, and I watched their worlds crumble. And I could put myself in their shoes of, how I would react if that happened to me. They were not the same women. They were very insecure. You just saw them change. And so what happened with me is, at the time that I had a couple friends that were, going through cancer, and then my mom is a cancer survivor. She had breast cancer. I went through a really horrible, rough place in my own personal life, to the point where I started having suicidal thoughts. I did not want to live anymore, and I suddenly found myself going to be a single mom of 2 young kids, and just my life as I knew it crumbled, similar to what cancer can do for a woman.
Yes.
And I went into, I would say, at least a year's solid depression, where all of a sudden my positive outlook, I've always been, the way you hear me sound right now is how I've always been in my life, very happy-go-lucky and very proactive, but all of a sudden I was not the same person. I would, I'd take I would have to wake up in the middle of the night with panic attacks and take cold showers at 2 a.m. just to let my heart kind of get back settled. And I would close the door so my kids wouldn't see me crying, you know, and I just didn't know how life was going to go on. And then a friend of mine, you know, gave me a book. It was actually Dr. Wayne Dyer. And it was a very, very apropos book for me at the time, because it was all about how your thoughts control your reality.
Yes.
And so in my head, it was all about, I'm not worthy anymore. Who's going to love me? I'm 50. My life has no purpose. It's a failure, you know. And so these are the reality I was creating for myself in my own prison of my thoughts. Mm-hmm. And so when my friend gave me that book, I started just sort of immersing myself into self-care with yoga and meditation and reading these books. I was forced to, because I didn't want to feel bad anymore. I knew I felt bad, but it was like, is this my new permanent reality? And is this how I want to feel? And I said, hell no. I got to climb out of this pit. And I did that with the help of friends and faith and family. I mean, people were there to give me the tools. And every day, you know, it started off very dark, and then every day it just got a little better to the point where I was like, oh my God, the sun is shining again, and I feel like my old self. And so as I started seeing my friends who were diagnosed with cancer going through that, I was like, I know we as a community can bond together to bring light and love to these women who are, and their families who are suffering. We don't have to sit around and wait for Congress to make that happen. And
that's right.
And that's what we did, is that we just said, let's see what happens when we love one another. One of the greatest commandments.
That's right.
And that's what we watch. I get phone calls from ladies who are suicidal, and they don't know where to turn. I'm like, just land in our arms, and we are going to walk with you and love you. And to see so many women invested in so many women for the betterment and the love, and we're just a small segment of the world. It just to know that that's possible in every community, and probably is happening through lots of different organizations. But I'm just super happy to be part of that, to get out of my adversity and see, whoa, like I would have never thought, if you had told me when I was having suicidal thoughts that this was going to be my day today, I wouldn't have believed you. And so that's what's happening, is we get to say, watch all around you. Look at all the lives that have been changed and transformed. You are going to be that person. It's your mind that has to allow you to receive it right now.
Well, and I think that that's so much too. Like when you went through your situation, it was your new normal, and you weren't sure how to deal with that. And I think that that's with women with cancer. All of a sudden, it may not go back to the way it used to be. So they have to find a new normal. And I feel like that's what you do with your program. So
well, you know,
tell me,
you start
go ahead.
You start convincing yourself that there is no, like you don't believe that there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel. Like you actually think this, you actually start telling yourself, this is my new normal. My new normal is that I will not get out of bed in the morning, and I'm going to cry myself to sleep, and then I'm going to have panic attacks, and this is going to be for the rest of my life. This is what my life looks like, because at that time you believe that is your entire future is going to look just like that. Right. And so because of the new normal, actually, once you actually see sunshine again and feel oxygen, and you start smiling again, the new normal is better than the old normal.
That's
because
right.
You appreciate what those amazing things feel like again. That's why women flourish after a cancer diagnosis and come through it on the other end, because they have a better appreciation for life and all the small things we take for granted. And they just approach life from a whole different lens after that.
That's right. That's right. Well, I am so grateful that you and I were able to connect, and I'm so grateful to share the mission that you have. And I'm so grateful that you and I have such a common bond, because it really is about empowering women and making them be a better place, because then they can be more active in the lives that are in front of them. So thank you so much for joining us today. And I appreciate you taking the time out to speak with me. And I love the work that you do.
And thank you. I'm so glad. Thanks for including me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for joining us on Hello Gorgeous, Everything Beauty, Cancer, and Inspiration. I'm your host, Kim Becker. And until next time, stay gorgeous.